We're live. We're live. Um, Welcome to Writer's Life, a place where you get the sight, sound, smells, taste of my particular writer's life and where you get the truth. So don't forget to subscribe, punch the like button, and tap the bell rather, for notifications so you don't miss out on one super exciting video coming here from Italy still. Look at this, getting thick. I'm like between the hair and everything. Anyway, so continuing this publishing racket thing. I call it a racket because it is. It's not really a business or anything like that. It's they're publishing houses are businesses, but and I even have one myself. But if there's a way to publish out there, I've done it. I've done it. I'm kind of like an old whore who has seen just about every type of client over the course of 25 years. So anyway, questions are always like, how should I publish this? If you're a newbie, like, should I publish? Should I go the traditional route? I spoke about this yesterday, just a tad. That means getting an agent, which these days can be, I think, virtually impossible. But they're out there still. In fact, agenting these days is so difficult, meaning it's so difficult for agents to make money off their clients that they are doing other things as well now. It's almost becoming like part-time jobs for them. And they just changed the rules for agents where it's okay for them to charge for editing your manuscript. I call bullshit on that. If first of all, my agent would never do that, and if he did, I mean, he's suggested, there's a person I know who can make this manuscript fantastic. If you'd have to pay her, but that's up to you. It's that's legal. That's perfectly good. That's cool, and I've done it a few times, but in general, it's very expensive and it's not worth it, to be honest, even though some people are really good at it. In other words, they'll help you develop your book into something even better. But I'm going back like 10 years or so. At this point, I completely trust the creative part of my brain. Like what comes out, I go over it a few times and that's what I want out. In fact, if anything at this point, I don't want to start going off on tangents. If anything, I don't want anybody fucking with my words. I don't mind a copy edit. That's great. But I don't want anybody messing with my words. It just pisses me off. Anyway, that's something else. But you can go that route. You can get the agent and then pray that the agent likes your book. Okay, so there's a year or whatever, and then they're going to try to sell it to they're down to 3 publishers or 4 publishers, I guess, or whatever. I think it was going to be 3, but it's still 4. I guess the government said you got to stick to 4 publishers or something like that. Anyway, who cares? And they're all in the Bertelsmann building in New York City where I used to publish. And you're going to hope for $100,000 at least. Good luck with that. Unless you're like a famous politician or a famous news, like Don Lemon. I'm sure he can, when he eventually gets kicked out, which is coming, he'll get his $3 million book deal. Unless you're one of those, if you're just playing a plain old me, Vince Andrew, your advances are going to be, not much. They're going to be like $5,000 to $10,000. I was collecting $50,000 advances up until a few years ago, but they have just, as the publishing houses have died and everything is going towards indie publishing, advances have gone way down. So that's why you might want to consider the next route, which is going with one of these indie publishers, um, who are generally a little more flexible, and they put out beautiful books, and they'll get you, they can't, they'll get you in bookstores, some bookstore, whatever bookstores are left, but they're not going to be able to promote you very well. And by the way, the big publishers, they're not going to promote you very well either, if at all. You have to do it all. You have to do it all yourself. So you could do that. You're not going to make a living off of it. You're not going to make a living off the traditional publishing, big publishing, and you're not going to make a living just publishing books with an indie publisher. You could do that on the side, which I hate, while you work a job, but you're not going to make a living from it. However, you can make a really good living by independently publishing, by starting your own company and publishing a ton of titles on your own, along with working with an independent publisher, or maybe a major now and then. And then you can do really well. But you got to be prolific. You got to be willing to put in 90,000 words a month. That's what I do. And, I also work some freelance gigs, as you guys know, freelance journalists and stuff like that. So like I do okay. I'm able to, make a decent living. Some months suck, but other months are great. It all averages out. I'm a special case, and there's most people are, they can only do one book a year, 2 books maybe, something like that. But some of those people are able to make a living on just those 2 books a year. So like, it's just, there's no one right answer when it comes to how you should publish. There really isn't. It's kind of like, you just got to try everything out and see how it goes. Like if you really have your heart set on getting that nice hardcover from, Random House, give yourself a time limit. Say, like, I'm going to give it 3 years. And if nothing happens in 3 years, then I'm going to go a different route. If it were up to me, starting all over again, I would jump on the indie wagon immediately. And I would have hundreds of titles. And that's kind of what I'm doing now. Like I'm just putting out titles like crazy. And which leads me to now the new opportunities in publishing, which are Kindle Vella, the serialized fiction series. I've got like 35 Vella books now, something like that. Either couple in progress. There'll be more next month. You've got Wattpad. You've got like 3 or 4 other entities, book entities in Asia that are really popular, especially with the young kids. There are people making a nice living just off of that stuff alone. My buddy Ben Sobiak, who I've spoken about before, like he makes a killing on Wattpad. That's all he needs. He just needs Wattpad. Boom. Chuck Palahniuk, like who I spoke about, gave up an offer for a traditional deal so that he could publish his new book on Substack. And I work with Substack. I give away free material every day, and I work with YouTube and connect. And I also work with YouTube, and I use Substack to show those videos every day on. That was the most convoluted sentence I think I've ever made in my life. It was a Fetterman moment. Come on, you got to have a sense of humor here. Anyway, what I do is I record a video on YouTube and then I put it out on Substack. Therefore, I am able to give away free content every day to about 8,000 subscribers. Now that makes sense. But I also publish fiction on Substack to paid members. I think it's like $4 or $5 a month or something like that, and you get like a piece of new fiction every week. I mean, sometimes that new piece of fiction will be part of a brand new book that's out already or something like that just came out. But you know, I don't know. I'm still kind of working with it, still trying, still experimenting with it. But anyway, so like, there's many ways you can be publishing your fiction these days. You don't have to stick to any one way. Try it all, in my opinion. Um, I think Vella's been great. The bonuses have been great. Um, and it's really gotten me in. It's really helped me speed up my writing process so that, like, I am now, today I put out 2 new episodes and I wrote them both today. And that's pretty typical. I put out at least 2 or 3 per day, even on weekends. And with Kindle Vella, you get paid for, if you're consistent, if you consistently publish, you get paid for that. So I've shown my agent the numbers, and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm so behind the times. I didn't even realize you could do this." In the meantime, I work also like with Down and Out Publishing, and they let me do pretty much what I want to do when I want to do it. They giving me my audio rights. And for instance, we just sold 3 of my Down and Out books to Tantor Media, and that resulted in a very nice advance. So what's not doing so well anymore, in my humble opinion, is ACX, the Amazon's Audible or audio thing. That has gone from a real cash cow to just like kind of like, and I have a lot of titles on it, to kind of like beer money. It's hard out there for folks right now. Instead of paying $25 to listen to a book, people would rather pay like $3.99 or $4.99 and read it on their phone. It's just a sign of the times. Doesn't mean you shouldn't put all your books in audio. You should. All your books should be in ebook, paper, and audio. In any case, I hope I've given you guys. I know it's all over the place, but there is no one right answer when it comes to how to publish. The only answer is what works for you. I could have 3 different writers sitting here with me, and all 3 of us will be doing something completely different in order to make our livings in the publishing world. Completely different. The only thing that's not different is we're putting in the word count every day. That's the only thing that's the same. All right. I hope I gave you guys some decent information today. I don't think anybody is good. All right. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I'm going to go outside for a little while, and I got to pick up some supplies, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Ciao, 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 ciao.